Braiding your garlic is really pretty, first of all, but second of all, it's a great way to store your garlic throughout the year. Braiding your garlic gives airflow around the cloves, and it also allows you to hang it up off the ground so that there's even more airflow in the back. Hi, I'm Rachel. This is Auxhart Gardening. If you're new here, I'm in South Carolina. That is Zone 7B because I'm in the upstate. And today I want to talk to you about how to braid your garlic for long-term storage. So like I said in the intro, braiding your garlic is more than just about pretty presentation of your harvest. Although I do think that that's really important because being able to see what you have and also like look at it and feel proud, I think that's really important, especially when you're in the middle of a really hard harvest season. You know, you need this reminder of like what your labor has produced and how beautiful it is. And then it's also really nice to be able to see these hanging in your kitchen and know exactly how much garlic you have left. So I'm going to start with a pile of cured garlic. Now, curing garlic, if you don't know, after you pick your garlic, you need to lay it out somewhere to dry for a few weeks before you do this process. You don't want to do this with fresh garlic from the garden because it's still got too much moisture in it. So the curing process for garlic, it takes a few weeks. You want to keep it out of direct sunlight if possible, except for maybe the first couple of days, and you don't want to keep it somewhere humid. I have heard of people getting mold because they live in a humid climate and they tried to keep it outside, like it didn't get rained on, but it's still very humid and they got mold anyway. So I've been keeping mine indoors on like one of those wire racks in my like air conditioned house where the air conditioner is pulling the humidity out of the air because here in South Carolina we have very high humidity levels like all the time, so curing outside is not an option for me. Anyway, what you're looking for is for the stem to dry up and everything to get crispy. I know you guys can hear that on the microphone. Everything is crispy, and from here you can see I didn't clean off any of the dirt when I first picked these, but now I'm going to do that. I'm going to start pulling layers off, and I kind of crunched off a little bit of the top leaves, and I'm gonna maybe remove this top layer here, and this top layer is gonna take with it most of the dirt so that you have a nice pretty clove to present in your braid. And after I'm done with that, I'm just gonna take some scissors and cut the roots off. This isn't strictly necessary, it's just for aesthetic purposes. So a cleaned up garlic is going to look something like this. You've got still all the leaves attached. I mean, I've crunched off a lot of the little stuff that wants to crunch off, but I've got a good stalk here and I've gotten most of the dirt from the outside. As you're peeling, if you run into damaged looking bulbs, you can see this has like black looking mold on it. It also has some yellow in discoloration. Something like this, you'll want to peel down further and check out what's going on underneath. And if it doesn't look good, definitely don't put it in your braid. It's not going to store well if any of the cloves are even still okay inside. So I just peeled this off of the outside of that clove. I peeled all the way down to the edible part, and this actually does look okay. The outside of that looked pretty scary, but these cloves still look fine. So what you can do with garlic like this, because you always want to check. If it looks sus on the outside, just check. What you can do with stuff like this is you can put them in a jar with hot vinegar. I boil vinegar and pour it over a jar of peeled cloves like this. And then keep that in the fridge for fresh eating whenever. Garlic doesn't really like let the vinegar permeate it, so it doesn't pickle really the way a cucumber would. You can just pull it out of the jar, rinse it off, and it is good to go. Although you might notice the ends turn a little blue, and that's really a normal reaction when garlic comes into contact with an acid, and it doesn't make it inedible at all. But if you want like a more full description of that, I do have a video on preserving garlic. And as for the rest of this one that I've been peeling apart, I'm probably just going to continue peeling it apart and jarring this garlic, because I have a bunch of dry garlic already, and pre-peeling them, honestly, it saves a lot of time. And usually when I go to make a recipe, I don't want to sit there and peel garlic. Okay, so once you've got your heads of garlic cleaned and ready, we're going to start the braiding process, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to talk you through it, but if you have ever French braided before, it's going to feel really similar. So the first thing that you need to do is start with 3 heads of garlic. You're going to arrange them like so, and take a string or a rubber band or a twist tie or something like that, and then tie them together. So next you're going to start your braid. So you're going to look at the 3 stalks that you have, and you're going to take left over center, and that's your new center, and then you're going to take right over center, and that's your new center. Now, here comes the part that people find the most tricky, which is adding in a head. So you're going to take a new head of garlic, and you're going to set it right there in the middle, right? And you're going to take your left, which is the side you started on, fold it over, and have that meet the one that you just placed in the middle. So next you're going to take another new head, offset it to the right a little bit, combine its stem with the stem of that one on the right, and then fold both of those over to the middle. And then you're going to do the same thing on the left. You're going to take a new head, combine it with the stalk on the left, and fold that over to the middle. And then you're going to continue this process until you've done like 3 or 4 layers, maybe more depending on the size of your garlic and how long your stalks are. And then once you feel like you've either made a sufficiently long braid or you're getting to the tips of your leaves, you can go ahead and just braid up the rest of the leaves and tie it off at the end with another string, twist tie, whatever it is you're using. Alright, and this is my finished braid that I just made for you guys. You can see the back looks kind of like a braid, and that's all there is to it. Now, my garlic is maybe especially difficult to do this with because it's so large. I think if you have a more normal sized garlic, you can braid them together a little bit more easily. And what I do to hang them up, I just take this string that I connected to the back, and I put a little command hook on my wall, or you could use a nail, and it'll hang just from that just fine. The stiffness of these leaves up top kind of holds on to that string really nicely, and it doesn't tend to pull up. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Again, I do have a video about preserving garlic here if you want. I also have a video on harvesting garlic if you need to know a little bit more about that. Until next time, happy gardening!